Alright, it's Sunday afternoon. I'd use my light here, but it's dead, and probably one of my youngsters swiped the cord. You know how that goes. It's rechargeable. But I'm going to tell on myself here. So, alright, you'll recall there's been a few videos on this thing, and you can tell by the tone of my voice that I'm not too impressed with how it runs. So anyway, I mentioned in one video that it has a Lunati 00013 cam. And one guy pointed out that that's a solid lifter cam. Now I said I looked at the cam card online, which I did briefly glance at it, but I didn't notice that it's a solid lifter cam. But look here. The lifter don't collapse. So this is a solid lifter cam that I've been setting at like a hydraulic lifter cam, which means the valves are open a little bit and it probably ain't gonna run too good. So I'm gonna go through it, make sure the lifters are on the base of the cam, and I'm gonna adjust these valves. The cam card calls for 28 intake, 30 exhaust. I'm gonna add 2,000 since it's cold, set them at 30 and 32 and see how it acts then. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, he says. He knew all along I was a big fat dummy, didn't he?
Yeah, totally.
And while I'm working on fixing my screw up on the valve lash, the little guy is building me a charge cord so I can charge my light, so I can see what I'm doing. You know, maybe the next time I do something. Alright, what I'm doing is I got a starter button. I'm on, let's see, 1, 3, 5, on cylinder number 7, the intake. But what I did was, I just spun the motor over until the number 1 intake depressed, then I adjusted the exhaust. And then I spun it over again until this one depressed, and I adjusted the intake and so on. Just kept moving on. It's really not that time consuming with a starter button. Just bump it over until you get it right and adjust it and keep moving on. This really should have poly locks on it, I think, but I don't have any, so it don't have any. Alright, I've got the valves all adjusted and the valve covers back on. I'm not going to crank it up right now because I'm going to go ahead and replace the master cylinder, which is right there, and the right rear wheel cylinder. And I'm going to do that because I couldn't get hardly any pedal at all, and it seems to me I ought to have had some, even if it did have a blowed wheel cylinder. So I'm going to replace the master cylinder and that wheel cylinder. Not necessarily in that order, though. When I get that done, then I'll fire it up. Maybe. How are we doing over here on the cord repair?
Messed up multiple times.
Hey, that's how you learn. That's how I learned. I didn't go to school or nothing. I just messed up multiple times. Alright, the little man and I have replaced the master cylinder and put a wheel cylinder on it. Bled the brakes. Plugged a hole in the right rear tire. Had a screw in it. Now, I'm going to crank this thing up and see if it acts any better with the valves adjusted. That's what I'm going to do. One guy looked at it and said I got too much spring on the gas pedal. Ooh, she quit. She'll stay running long enough for me to get out. Alright, let me back it out a bit before I fumigate myself. Well, I've done a bit of adjusting on the carburetor, just a little bit. He's definitely more responsiver on the tack. Sounds more happy in gear. We still got some tuning to do, no doubt, but I think she's happier. But listen to that valve train noise. I never ran a solid lifter motor before, but I guess that's how it is. Alright, to summarize, I've adjusted the valves on this thing a couple times thinking it was a hydraulic lifter cam. Just made that assumption because that's mostly, in fact that's all I've ever messed with, come to think of it. I had one solid lifter cam and a motor and I took it out and put a milder cam in there. But this one has solid lifters, so I adjusted them. The valve train's fairly noisy now, but it seems happier and revs freer and sounds better. So I guess there's a couple lessons to be learned here. One, don't ever think Mr. Heavy Chevy knows everything. Right?
Right.
Number two, if you take the trouble to look up something like I did, read all of it so you make sure you understand what you're looking at. That's always helpful to know in school, right? Yeah. Number three, everybody makes mistakes. Just go fix them. Nobody will laugh at you. Well, maybe 10,000 of you will, but you know what? That's the way it is. Alright, man, you want to ring the bell? Or are you going to sit there with your mouth hanging open? I think that was sufficient.
Yeah.
Alright, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go and get cleaned up and eat something. I think Mama's got some good food for us.
Pot roast.
Is that right? So I'm a pot roast kind of guy.